So, good morning. Creative good morning to all of you. Special welcome to Philadelphia University, right? Yeah. This is it, the future. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm always happy to talk about meditation, and which is what I'll be talking about. And I'm really happy to be talking about it in the context of creativity. So let me see, my copy said, where do creative ideas come from? And the answer is an open, relaxed, fearless mind, right? Open, relaxed, fearless mind, which is the mind that we all have when our minds are not cluttered up with what? Hesitation, doubt, stories about the past and the future, negative self-talk. Anybody experience negative self-talk? Yeah, that's a big one. So that's just clutter, and when we can kind of clear the clutter, then we have open, relaxed, and fearless minds. So that's what meditation is really cultivating. The topic is, how can mindfulness meditation help us find that mind? Because that mind is our birthright, and so we just need to find it or re-find it. I'm watching these little children running around. They're so beautiful. They have that mind like right. They have it down, right? And then over time, it gets cluttered. So we're going to go back to that mind of those little children with their pink shirts in there. Mindfulness is a technique of meditation, okay? So mindfulness is also something we just do all the time. We are mindful. I won't say all the time, but from time to time, we're mindful. And mindfulness meditation is a technique where we cultivate that quality of mindfulness, which Jon Kabat-Zinn, who is the godfather of the mindfulness movement in this country and now all over the world. Let me see if I can remember. It's paying attention on purpose in a particular way. I always forget the fourth one. What? Without judgment. That's the fifth one. And in the present moment. How could I forget that? Paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and really importantly, non-judgmentally. Okay? So that's mindfulness. That's the definition of mindfulness. Basically being present for our experience in the moment, whatever it is. Good, bad, indifferent. We're training to be present in our lives. This is the only moment we have, this present moment. So, how many of you have heard of mindfulness? You kind of have to be living under a rock to not have heard of mindfulness. It's in every magazine, every whatever show, something talks about mindfulness. So mindfulness is out there. How many of you have thought maybe it would be a good thing to try to do? Yeah. And how many of you have actually tried meditating, tried doing a mindfulness practice? Great. That's amazing. God, 10 years ago, it would have been different story here. But now, how many of you have tried it but discovered it wasn't so easy? Yeah, that's the thing of it. It's simple, but not an easy thing to do. So, what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about mindfulness and creativity, how they work together. And we're also going to do some mindfulness meditation practice. So you will have a practice to take home with you. And I have some handouts that will be available because you will forget what I said, and you will need to be refreshed on it. Mindfulness meditation comes from the Buddhist tradition. Buddhism is a religion. But I think more importantly now in this 21st century, Buddhism is being recognized as a really an inquiry into the nature of mind and reality. So this is why scientists have gotten so fascinated with mindfulness. That's why, Davidson, whatever his first name is, from University of Wisconsin, puts little plugs all over meditators' heads to see how does it work? What's happening? What happens when we meditate? So this is a really interesting field in neuroscience. And what I'm going to talk about comes from that kind of inquiry that's happening. The Dalai Lama meets with scientists every year and talks about these things that Buddhism sort of discovered 2,000 years ago. How do they apply today? So, mindfulness and creativity. This is not a talk about Buddhism. So, mindfulness and creativity. I used to think that creativity was the function of the left brain. That this was the art brain, this was the creative brain, this was the imaginative brain. This is where it all happened, right? And then scientists call this I don't know why they call it this, the default network or the imagination network. And that this cognitive control network, no, do I have that wrong? I do. This is the imaginative, and this is the cognitive control. Doesn't matter. But that this cognitive control was the one that got in the way of creativity, because it was kind of the math brain, the limiting brain. So that was the problem, and that this was the creative side. But actually, what creativity requires is a flexible brain. A flexible brain, not one side or the other side, but a brain that's able to go from right to left, depending on where we are in the process and what we need. And in fact, there's a third network called the salience network. I just learned all this last couple months. It's fascinating. Salience network, so we have cognitive control, default, imaginative, and then salience, which salience means what's important. And the salience network can pull out what's important. So what I want to talk about is how mindfulness meditation can function in terms of creating that flexible, agile kind of brain, how mindfulness meditation can help us rediscover that open, relaxed, fearless mind. All right? So I'm going to take you through a little process of creativity. This is just one scenario. It doesn't always apply, and it may not apply to how you work with creativity. So let's say the first step is preparation. All of us are creative, and all of us require creativity in everything we do, from the moment we wake up till we go to bed, and then it's happening while we're sleeping. So this isn't about art making. This is about everything in our lives, right? Right? Is that true? Cooking, making love, taking care of our children, whatever we do in our lives, as well as art making. So the first step is, you could say, is preparation. That's when you want that default or imaginative brain really cooking, right? And you want it cooking in a way that's very free, that isn't being restricted by that cognitive control part, that just can produce lots of ideas. It's very imaginative, open. My own experience is I get that brain going, and then then that cognitive control goes, well, that's not a very good idea. Or, I don't think that'll work. We don't want that brain right now. So we need to just set that brain aside. That brain will have a function later, but not right now. So the first step is really just opening up that creative, spacious, anything goes kind of environment in our minds. So mindfulness in that case can help us to, first of all, just relax, but also to sort of notice when that nagging little, that won't work, when it comes along. We can actually notice it before it takes over, and we can kind of gently set it aside. So mindfulness really helps us not get rid of thoughts, but notice thoughts and pick and choose. I don't need that thought right now. I'm going to set it over here. So that's a function of mindfulness, noticing and working with. All right. So that's in the first phase. Then there's a second phase called this is from Crystal Goh, G-O-H, these kind of words that she's using. Second is incubation. And this is a really interesting one. This is the go offline. This is just drop it. This is like turn off the computer. This is step away. And this is really important. And I hadn't sort of realized this, but when you're generating lots of ideas and then you go offline, which means lots of things, could mean lots of things, different things to different people, your brain is still kind of sorting and figuring out. It's still kind of working, percolating. I was thinking it's still bubbling. And, there are little bubbles popping up. And that's all happening. You don't need to do anything about it. But you do need to give it a little space. So this is where we're not going to do movement. There are too many of you. But this is where moving and body really can help you and support that. So take a walk, right? Dance. Turn on some music and dance. Take a nap. That's another one. So just something that gets you offline, that lets your mind relax. And very often it is a quality of dropping into the body, of really embodying yourself, joining your mind and your body together. So I understand your teacher has been encouraging you to go offline. Yeah. So this is the point, and this is why, because your brain needs that space. We all need it. I'm not picking on them. All of us are right. We're addicted. And especially now, and I hate to say this, but this is like a little political thing. We're really torturing ourselves, and we're destroying any possibility of real change if we allow this flood of information to overwhelm us in this current situation. So we have to, in this case also, go offline. Take a break, take a walk, look at the sky. Okay? So that's the second one. Third one is illumination. So third one is some idea pops up. So out of this little bubbling cauldron that's been going on while we're dancing or taking a walk, taking a nap, out of this bubbling cauldron, a great idea pops up. Insight, right? Aha, that moment. This is the thing that created creativity. We want that thing to pop up. So it pops up, and if our minds are all cluttered, if we're too busy looking at our devices, we don't notice it. We miss it. There's a good chance we'll miss it. So we need, again, mindfulness can give us some space, openness. So when that aha moment pops up, we catch it. This is the salience network. This is the network that notices when something is important. Okay? Third stage is verification. So this is when that cognitive control brain has to go to work. It needs to verify, evaluate, sort, figure out, how is this going to work? Is this a good idea? So that's an important function in creativity. At some point you have to go from here to here and start checking things out. All right? So mindfulness here is really important because it helps us focus, and it helps us to Stay positive. In other words, again, noticing when that little nagging voice comes up. No, that really isn't it. Don't even bother with that. So noticing that voice, setting it aside. Okay, so mindfulness there has a very important function in terms of staying focused, staying positive, and also staying relaxed. Because if you're trying to do this and struggling, it's not so much fun. Okay. That's one scenario. Let's try it, okay? So I'd like you all to stand up. This is kind of going offline, right? You've just been listening, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you've been thinking about what I'm saying. Maybe you've been thinking about something totally different. It's okay. But you've been sitting. So now we're standing up. And you don't have a lot of room, but just do a little stretch and a little wiggle. Take a deep breath. Let's make it audible. Notice how that feels, right? One more. I always feel like there's an elevator and it just drops right into my bottom here. So let's start our meditation just standing for fun. And again, just take a moment to really feel your feet on the earth. We'll call this the earth. Really feel the full weight of your body. When we did our sigh, you can do another one, not so big, but just a little sigh. When you breathe out, you might have a sense of that kind of dropping into your body. Meditation is about joining mind and body so they function together. So just really feeling your body, noticing if there's any tension. Maybe you just shake your head a little. We hold a lot right here, especially those of us who work with screens. So just relaxing. Feeling the space around you, such as it is, above you, below you. And then when you go to sit down, just notice what a miracle the body is. That all the things that have to happen in order for you to sit down, all the muscles, joints, bones. Okay, sit down. Yeah. So we just went offline for a minute, kind of. And now we're ready to start the practice of meditation. So the one thing, this is really important. Meditation is not about getting rid of your thoughts. It's not about having an empty mind. I'll say that again. It's not about getting rid of your thoughts. It's not about having an empty mind. This is a misconception that it's less prevalent now, but used to be kind of the thought, the feeling that you had to get rid of your thoughts. There's a problem with your thoughts. First of all, you can't do that. Mind generates thoughts. That's its job. That's what it does. And especially in terms of creativity, that's what we want it to do. So mind moves, mind makes thoughts. What we do with meditation is we just develop a different relationship with those thoughts. So rather than controlling us, it's not so much we're controlling them, but we have a different, friendly, collaborative relationship with our thoughts. And mindfulness meditation can help train us to have that relationship. The other thing, as we talked about earlier, was non-judgment. So as you do this practice right now, be curious, be interested, be gentle with yourself. Don't try to be the best. Just be interested in your experience, okay? And don't judge it. I'm a good meditator, I'm a bad meditator, I could never do this. My mind is busier than anybody else on the earth, blah, 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 whatever it is you think. Just let those, that's just a thought, let it go. Okay, so starting, if you would, with both feet. When we were standing and you had that sense of support from the earth, so yeah, as much as you can, put stuff away that's making you kind of have to add tension to your body. And just have your feet really firmly on the ground, supported by the earth. Now, I invite you to sit forward on your seat enough so that you can feel what it's like to sit up straight. These chairs are pretty good for this. It also kind of puts more weight on your feet, so you're more grounded on the earth, and really feel your bottom. So we start with body. Body is the support for the practice. Body is the support for the practice. You're always coming back to the body. This moment, this body right now. So feet on the ground, seat, really feel that. Flat on the chair. And then if you are slightly away from the back of the chair, try not using the back to support you, but feel the natural alignment of your spine. Your spine has a natural alignment that is unique to you. We're not getting into some military posture, but just a relaxed, upright, you could say dignified, present. You might feel the sort of strength in your back and the kind of quality of openness or softness in the front. You might have that experience. But you're just in your body. And it's an upright, awake posture. So really that's all you have to remember is good seat, grounded, upright, dignified posture. Head and shoulders relaxed. I practice with my hands resting on my thighs. It's another way of grounding. So you can do that if you'd like, or wherever your hands are comfortable. Now in this practice, we practice with our eyes open. So that may be different from something you've tried before. And we're a little crowded in here in terms of doing that particular thing. But just let your eyes be open and relaxed. So the gaze is down. And our eyes work so hard all day long. So we're going to rest our eyes, relax them, but not close them. So just let your gaze be down and relaxed. Blink. It's fine. And just find the place where they can kind of be comfortable. So this is the posture. So we have ground, earth. We have the upright, dignified posture of the body, kind of natural alignment, as relaxed as possible. And our eyes are open, so we're open to the world. We're not shutting ourselves down. So that's the first part. That's body. So just take a minute and just be curious about what that feels like. Be interested in your experience right in this moment of doing this. Without judging, without evaluating, just be interested. What do you notice? Maybe you notice some discomfort. That's okay. Just noticing whatever your present moment experience is. Okay, so that's body. You can do it sitting in a chair like this. There's a whole group behind there doing it standing. That's great. You can do it standing. I don't recommend lying down for obvious reasons, but you can do it sitting on a cushion like a meditator. But a chair is perfect, is fine. So that's number one, body. Number two is what we call the object of meditation, and there are a lot of different ones. In this case, we're going to use our breath, our breathing. Okay? So again, take your posture, feel your earth, feel your spine, feel your body. What an amazing thing it is. And then shift this sort of, so your attention is more just on the sensation of breathing. So we breathe out, we breathe in. It's a natural breath, nothing fancy, no yoga breathing here. It's just the breath we have with us all the time, very handy. And we're just bringing our attention to the sensation of breathing wherever we feel it. You might feel it in your abdomen, your chest, nostrils. Your whole body is breathing. So just bring your attention to that sensation, feeling breath going out. Maybe there's a sense of kind of dissolving. Breath comes back in, goes out. We're just resting our attention there. Very gentle, non-struggle, non-striving. Don't try to be good at this. Just be curious. So just take a minute and just feel that. What does that feel like? What do you notice? Got your good seat and your breathing. Okay, so this is the real condensed form. But so you have body, part one. Spend a few minutes. Take time with that. We spend a lot of time up here, right? We don't always drop into our body. So body, breathing. What did anybody notice? Anything? What was interesting about that, or what'd you notice? Calm. So for you, the experience was you felt calm. Okay. Yes?
I felt like I could hear myself.
You could
Hearing my breath and hear myself.
You could hear yourself. Oh, that's so interesting. So you could hear yeah, that's great. Thank you. So you were actually sort of present for yourself. Whatever was there. It might have been relaxation, it might have been something else, but you were there for it. Yeah.
I started focusing on the body and then breathing, and then away, and I just sort of, I don't know, it felt a little loose.
A little loose.
Yeah. I started to focus, and then I realized I wasn't
Okay.
going to fade it.
So she started the focus, so focusing on the body, so there was some kind of intention, focusing on the breathing, and then it kind of relaxed, it sounds like, and kind of opened up and was just, yeah. So there was a quality that described it kind of, you said it faded. Interesting. The focus, right. Anybody else notice anything else? Yes?
My mind wandered.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to come back to that. Her mind wandered. Anybody else notice that? I noticed it. Okay. Did you?
I kept wanting to slouch.
Okay.
I was just up too straight.
Yep. You kept wanting to
I
slouch.
was like, wow, it's really quiet.
It's really quiet. And did anybody hear that guy walk across the back? Yeah. So yes. So we want to go back to our kind of, and that's okay. Just what's interesting about that is noticing how it feels different when we sit up. And again, it's not like, how does it feel different when we kind of see what's happening? It's like my heart is closing up here. So, but just explore it. Yeah, I want to come back to thoughts. My mind wandered. Okay, my mind wandered too. That's what mind does. Mind moves. Thoughts are generated continually. So in this practice, what we do, when we notice that our mind has wandered away, the breathing is only just a little place, it's a little anchor. It's a little place to put our attention. The mind wanders off. We go, oh, there we are in Topeka, Kansas. And we just notice. No big deal. That's what mind does. No judgment, no struggle. But the minute we've noticed, we're already back. That's the joke. So we notice, we acknowledge, no judgment, and we're back. We're back with the sensation of breathing. We're back in our bodies. we're back with the present moment experience, whatever that is. Okay? So this is meditation. It's that simple. We sit, we breathe, we notice our thoughts, we acknowledge them, we come back to the present moment. We come back to where we are right now. Okay? And the main thing is not stopping your thoughts, not pushing them away. You don't have to. The minute you notice, which mind does naturally, the minute you notice, you're already here. Just let yourself be here for one breath, a half a breath, 2 or 3 breaths. It doesn't matter. The point is not to get really good at this so that you have no thoughts, that you never have a thought. We're not about that. It's strengthening that sort of flexibility and openness and fearlessness of our minds. So we're training. This is like training. And we do that by noticing and coming back. Noticing, coming back. Noticing, coming. It's like reps. So don't worry if there are a lot of them. That's good. Okay, let's try it for a couple of minutes here. And then we'll have time for some questions. And so again, finding your body. If you can, sit a little forward in your chair so that you're not relying on the back. If you need to rely on the back, that's fine. There's no problem. But really feeling the earth, feeling the... Just before we do that, take a minute, put your hand on your heart, and just care about yourself for 1 second. All right? Don't struggle with this. Be gentle with yourself. Be compassionate to yourself as you try to learn meditation. It's not easy. Okay. Feet on the floor, seat on the chair, spine. Some sense of just natural alignment, dignity. Maybe a sense of open heart. Eyes open and relaxed. And then bringing attention to your breathing, wherever you feel it. Doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong here. Just a little place, a little anchor for your attention. Breathing in, breathing out. And then noticing if mind drifts away. Not a problem. We just notice, acknowledge, and let ourselves be back in our bodies, back in this room, back with our breathing. Interested in our experience, curious about our experience. Rather than judging or trying to be good at this. Noticing again where mind is, if it's drifted away. Just noticing, letting yourself be back in your body, in the room, sensation of breathing. Noticing again where your mind is, if it's drifted off. Letting yourself be back. hearing sounds. They're just part of the space. You can let them be in the background. The breathing is in the foreground of your attention. Not trying to push away thoughts or other sensations. Okay, so just take a minute. Everybody wiggle a little. What did you notice? What was that like? What did that feel like? Anybody?
I felt like I was an observer.
You felt like you were an observer. What were you observing?
Something about I'm outside my body. I'm seeing
Ah.
myself, but not really, connected, but
Uh-huh.
somewhere else.
Uh-huh. You're somewhere else. So I would just explore that and be curious about that. And again, make sort of connecting with your sensation of body. That's why the earth is good. The earth grounds us. Yeah. So, but whatever that is, did you feel present? Yeah, there you go. So you were here. That's what we're after. Anybody else? Yes?
My vision started to leave. So
Your vision started to...
yeah, it started to leave. Like, we just start seeing shapes and stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's very common. His vision started, he started seeing shapes. So that could be because you're very creative, but it's very common that when we first start practicing, the vision thing gets to be kind of... and that's just a matter of relaxing. It's not a problem, but you don't want to chase after those shapes. They can get fascinating, right? Ooh, look, there's a rabbit on the floor. Yeah. So that's just a thought. So not getting fascinated, but not being concerned. It often happens, with, especially in the beginning of meditation. Anybody else? Yes? Pardon me?
Sleepy.
You felt sleepy. Okay.
Maybe it's because I didn't sleep last night, but
Yeah. All right. So sleepy. Most of us are pretty sleep deprived. So when we sit down and we stop, we recognize that we're tired. So that's also very natural, and it's not a problem. You can meditate when you're sleepy. You can meditate when you're agitated. You can meditate when you're sad. You can meditate when you're happy. Sleepy meditation, sometimes people feel like it's not good, but that's just a judgment. It's good to recognize, I need more rest. That's okay. And you have a sleepy meditation. No problem. Good, thank you. Somebody else? Yeah?
I felt the urge to close my eyes.
You wanted to close your eyes. Okay. So a lot of people have learned meditation with eyes closed. It's fine. It's very traditional. If you prefer it, by all means. I'll tell you, though, there are a couple of reasons that we teach meditation with eyes open. The most important is that we want to be able to be mindful and present in our daily lives. So we have to sort of learn how to allow sense perceptions, visual, sound, whatever, to be present, and we can still be here. So that's why we train with eyes open, so that we can bring it into our everyday lives a little more effectively. That said, I often start my meditation with my eyes closed, because that's a place where I'm kind of grounding and centering. So I close my eyes, feel centered, and then I'll open my eyes. But again, it's very traditional to practice meditation with eyes closed, and there's no problem doing that. Notice if you start to get really like internalized and a little too in there. And the other main reason why you do it is because when you close your eyes, what happens? You're liable to fall asleep. Okay, so that's the other reason. But the first one is really the more important one. Anybody else? Somebody over here, yeah.
When I was doing the breathing, I kind of felt visually it was like spiral up,
Ah,
spiral down, and then when I kind of was doing felt like a thought chain.
Uh-huh.
And then there were some physical things, like somebody said I felt tired, somebody, said
Mhm.
I wanted to slouch. I had moments like, that's itchy, or whatever, but I kind of tried to like let them, and then they faded. And
Uh-huh.
I just could try to get back on track on a, like thinking like chain,
Uh-huh.
connecting, like I just was trying to follow my brain a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she had the sensation of a thought chain. So kind of spiraling. Yeah, that's interesting because I think that what we don't notice so much, and this is kind of interesting to notice, is when the chain breaks. That we imagine it as a continuous thing, but it is more like a chain, and every once in a while the chain breaks, and there's a gap. And then you never can get back on that same chain. Yeah, so it's, again, noticing that there's a lot of space around that thing we call thought, chain, train, process. And becoming familiar with that space. So yeah, but it's fun to try to follow the chain. Try to keep the chain solid. Interesting. Yeah, and then see what happens. So yes, that sense of the continuous spiral of thought is something we're trying to investigate. Yeah? Okay. Anybody else? Question about the practice or?
Why is it important to leave, or I guess to stay in the moment as opposed to like drifting off?
Okay, why is it important to stay in the moment? Thank you. That's a very fundamental question. We always talk about being present, being in our lives, being in the present moment. Why? Why would anybody want to do that? Partly because some of our present moments are not so pleasant. So we'd like to get away from them. Yeah, this is a really sort of important question to ask ourselves. And it's really a matter of, this is the only moment we have. This is our life. This is the only moment that is true, is this present moment. That's sort of a philosophical, it's actually very real and true when you think about it. That moment when I was off thinking about what happened yesterday, I mean, it's fine to do that. We all do that. There's no problem. But yesterday is not really our present life. And if we're missing our present life because we're so caught in thoughts about the past and the future, if we're living so much in the future and so much in the past and not in the present, then we're missing our life. And we're missing lots of information about what's true for us. It's like, who said I was present for myself, or I heard myself? If we're so busy hearing the past and the future, we're not hearing ourselves in the present, what's happening now. And in terms of insight and creativity, we're going to miss those moments when something pops up into that open space of just being there, because our minds aren't cluttered up. But really good question, and a philosophical one as well, that we have to ask ourselves. I'm old, so I feel very poignantly the sense of, if I'm not present for every moment, I don't have that many left. Maybe when you're 20, it feels like infinite out there. But maybe not. Maybe we really begin to realize that I want to be here for this moment. I want to be here for this time, for this life. Not guaranteed any other one. So, thank you. Good question. Yes?
How do you, what advice do you have for experiencing when you're doing meditation? I was very aware of being part of a group and other people, and it's different than when you practice by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's actually a good segue because we're running out of time here. But I wanted to talk about two things. One is how to take this into your everyday life, little mini meditations, and also how to do this practice on your own. But maybe I'll start with that. So it's really good to have you can't do this unless you practice. So practicing meditation, mindfulness meditation, is an important piece of this. And that means setting aside a time, sitting down, working with a specific technique, and being sort of focused about that. That's the muscle building time. That's the time that then when you're out in your life, it occurs to you, oh, I could come back to the present moment, right now. It won't occur to you, probably. It's less likely to occur to you if you haven't been doing that workout. So the personal practice is really important. Do what's possible. Don't set yourself up a goal that's, practice an hour a day, every day. Maybe one of you will do that, but probably not all of you. So maybe you say, okay, I can do this for 5 minutes, 4 days a week. That's better than setting up something that's not reasonable. So just do it. You start to get familiar with it. Maybe you start to discover some interesting things and you think, well, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Maybe not. Maybe 5 minutes is good. Maybe I do it 5 minutes a day during the week, and then on the weekend I sit for 10 minutes. So whatever it is, it should be doable. Much more important than being overly ambitious. It's very different to meditate in a group. And some people like it, and some people don't like it. So, but it's different, and it's interesting to explore. I personally find it very supportive. There's something about, well, first of all, I'm less likely to jump up and go to the refrigerator. But really, it's a sense of, yeah, we're all in this together. My mind is my mind, your mind is your mind. There's a sense of, yeah, there's something really supportive about that. So I encourage you to find a place, and there are places all around Philadelphia. I happen to love the Philadelphia Shambhala Center, but where you can sometimes practice with other people. But it's a combination. So you have a personal practice that you do at home or wherever, and then a practice that you might do with other people. Even if it's a couple of friends, get together and do it. It's helpful to set time that you're going to do it. 5 minutes, do it for 5 minutes, and you're done. Don't say, well, if it works out, if it's good, if it feels good, then I'll do it for 10 minutes, and if it doesn't, I'll... What is the slogan? I want to be in the moment unless this moment sucks, in which case I'll have a cookie. So having a intention, doing it, and that's it. It's helpful to have a little place where you do it, maybe in your house, your apartment, that you know when you, so that even if you don't, okay, I meant to practice today, but I'm not going to have time, I'm going to go there, and I'm just going to stand. Take 3 deep breaths. Okay, that's as good as I could do today. So that there's a place that reminds you that you have this intention. That's helpful. Final thing is, how do we bring this into our everyday lives? And there are a couple things. One is the thing we did earlier, the 3 relaxing sighs. Do one again. And do one that's audible. Just notice. Interesting. So that's something you can just do on the spot. One of the reasons we use the breath as the object of meditation is because you always have it with you. You can always take a breath. And that's something that's really valuable. I did this training with doctors, and we were training the doctors before they went into the exam room to take 3 breaths, right? Just so you know, all right, I'm about to encounter another human being. This one young doctor came back and she said, I felt like I didn't have time. And I thought that was so sad. We do have time. We have to make time. This is a difficult time in history, in our lives, full of challenges. We have to meet those challenges. We really have to do it with compassion for ourselves, for others, and taking time to care for ourselves. I always say I was saying this to somebody else, as meditators, there's times we have to sit down and then times we have to stand up. The standing up will be a lot more powerful if we are centered, if we develop some kindness to ourselves, compassion for ourselves, some awareness of ourselves and what's going on. We'll be much more effective in our creative life, in our personal life, in our political life, whatever life we are in, all the lives we're in, will be much richer. So, thank you all very much. I will be here for a while if you have questions. I didn't make 120 copies, but there are some copies of the instruction, meditation instruction, if any of you would like to take that away. Also, there are little cards that have the information for the Philadelphia Shambhala Center. We don't have flyers or handouts. Best thing is to go to the interweb, as we say, and find out what's happening. And there's always a place somebody to call up and say, oh, I don't know if this is the right thing for me or whatever. It gives the public meditation hours. And again, thank you to the Creative Mornings for thinking this was a good idea. I'm really glad to have met all of you.